Hi there and welcome to this video on sung worship leading in Antioch churches. This time we'll be looking at the role of a worship coordinator. So who is a worship coordinator? Well, a worship coordinator is somebody empowered by the church leader to oversee the sung worship of the church and to build the team. You might also call them a worship team leader if you wanted to emphasize the people part of the role. Now, you should know if this is you, and if it isn't you, feel free to still watch this video, but some of it might not be so relevant. So, as I see it, there are three main reasons for this role to exist. Number one, helping the church to worship. 2, growing people in gifts and service. And 3, sharing ministry within the church. And again, as I see it, there are three main parts to the role: prayer, people, and process. First, prayer, holding the worship life of the church before God, asking Him to send the Holy Spirit, praying for the team and the congregation to grow in love and in service and for God to be glorified. Then there's people, encouraging the team of worship leaders, growing people's gifts, looking out for training opportunities and resources, identifying and raising up new leaders. Then process, organising Sunday or Saturday sung worship. That could be through a rota or on a WhatsApp group, whatever works for your church. And shaping the church song list, looking back over it every so often, seeing if it needs any changes, and keeping communication channels running smoothly so that other leaders are communicating clearly and organising things well. Prayer, people, and process. Let's look at the level of tasks, because there are a few regular things that can really help move the worship team and culture from gradual decay to gradual growth. Here's something for each area of prayer, people, and process. So in prayer, once a week, pray for the worship life, team, and culture of the church as part of your personal prayer. Then people, give feedback to the worship leader or worship team in your service. I like something called 2 stars and a wish. 2 things they did really well or that really worked, and 1 thing to work on for next time. You could also ask someone else to give feedback. It's a great way of developing your team even more by encouraging them to think reflectively. Then process, encourage communication between the worship leader and the preacher in advance of the service. If this is an established pattern, you might not need to do anything here. But if it's something people aren't used to yet, you might want to send a message, either on a planning group chat if you have one, or to the 2 people involved. Over time, these 3 weekly tasks can make a real difference. It's like a small course correction on a boat or a plane. It doesn't seem like much at the time, but you end up in a completely different part of the country. Beyond the weekly rhythms, you could be thinking about things like training, getting together as a team, editing your song list, patterns of practicing and prayer before services, and raising up new leaders. But all of that will depend on your capacity and on your church. So, to sum up, a worship coordinator or team leader is someone empowered by the church leader to oversee the sung worship in the church and build the team. 3 main areas: prayer, people, and process. And small weekly tasks can make a big difference over time. Finally, have fun with it. A worship team can be a really creative and enjoyable community, and it's a beautiful thing to watch that joy and heart for worship spreading through a church. Next time, we'll look at shaping a song list, which is again especially relevant for worship coordinators. See you then.